Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of May 20th through May 26th. This is a big week in the astrology because we have one of the slow outer moving planets changing signs. And this is going to bring about energy that we are going to then have more of next year. So this is going to be kind of this like introduction to 2025 a little bit. So we start off the week on Monday, May 20th with a second quarter moon phase in the sign of Libra. So the moon is gaining light and we're about to have a full moon this week. And this Libra moon is kind of harboring heralding, that's a better word, heralding in this energy of relationships, of balance, of harmony, of coming into being in connection with others without losing ourselves, right? So this moon is very harmonious, it's very caring and nurturing and kind, but at the same time, it might have some porous boundaries. So you're going to be asked this week to have boundaries and understand what boundaries mean for you when you say no, when you bow out of relationships, when you decide to be in your own energy more. What does that look and feel like for you? And where does that feel sticky or hard? Because Libra doesn't like any conflict, right? It just wants to make sure everybody's happy all the time and at the expense of themselves sometimes. So we want to make sure that that is not happening this week. And noticing where it does, right? So on Monday, May 20th, the sun moves into Gemini. Happy birthday, Geminis. This is Gemini season now. And Gemini season is about connection, communication. We are wanting to be very social. We are out and about, and we just like to be with other people during this time, right? Now, Gemini is the duality, though. It's the introvert and the extrovert. So if you know a Gemini, Geminis have this ability to connect and communicate and learn about people. It also rules kind of little bits of information that kind of make sense, right? So it's information that you learn through doing. It's tangible information that you pick up, and it can be a little bit scattery, right? This energy is mutable air. So air is intellect, inspiration, creativity. So Geminis are so smart, right? And they're very curious and they want to learn about things. They want to know more about it. It's one of the intellectual signs, but it can become very scattered because it's just going wherever it desires, right? It's kind of being pulled in the energy of its curiosity, like it's just kind of going wherever it desires. So what can happen is we can feel very scattery during Gemini season. So it's important to have a plan. It's important to have maybe a checklist. It's important to have a goal and know which way the goal is taking you versus just kind of, being very pulled in many directions, which we are, right? And Gemini rules communication and things like the media and social media. So we notice with social media, there is this never ending scroll, right? Like there's no ending. I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about when you read a book, there's a beginning and an end, right? When you read a story, there's a beginning and an end, and you know that the ending is there and now it's time to break off and do something else. Whereas in social media, they purposely remove the ending so that you are continuing to go and go and go and go and go, right? Until you hit something that kind of signals to you it's time to leave, whether that's the timing, whether it's you're tired, right? So lately, I have been taking every time I see a post for something that's being advertised, right? Usually it's clothes or something that doesn't really interest me. I will take it as a sign to disengage, to close social media and go. So you are going to have to find those stop gaps. Where is it time to stop and move to something else? Creating those things for yourself because they don't really exist in media anymore, right? I mean, there's a beginning of a show and an ending of a show. Even when you are watching a series of shows on Netflix, they want you to continue to go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because the longer you stay on the platform, the more that you like them, right? And the more you'll recommend them and the more things you'll buy from them. So they get money. they get your attention. That's really important. So on Monday, May 20th, sun moving into Gemini. This is a period of curiosity, adaptability, and social interaction. And this solar shift encourages intellectual stimulation, communication, and versatility. in various pursuits. It's a time to explore new ideas, connecting with new people and other people or people in your community, and embracing diversity through thought and expression. So this is a lovely energy for, hashing out ideas, thinking about things in a different way, or kind of building on ideas together, right? So great energy. Wednesday, May 22nd, the sun is trine to Pluto retrogrades. Remember, Pluto is retrograde right now, still in Aquarius. And it's slowly kind of moving back through some degrees here. So the sun forms a harmonious trine to Pluto, facilitating deep transformation, empowerment, and renewal. This alignment encourages introspection, psychological growth, and reclaiming personal power from within. It's a time to shed old patterns, embracing change, and aligning with your true purpose. Wednesday, the 22nd, this is going to be building this whole week, so it's going to be in aspect the whole week, but this is an aspect that helps us get stuff done, right? Pluto is death, rebirth, and transformation, and the sun being in Gemini. Now it's a time of curiosity and getting moving on things, right? You might get information and you might integrate it right away, or this is really great energy for excavating information. So research, kind of going deeper into topics, writing about things in a way that is uncovering, this is great for therapy as well, because death, rebirth, and transformation is Pluto. So how can you use this energy to get things done in your life? So if you've got to do your taxes, you haven't done your taxes yet, probably not a problem. You should have had it done by now, but you might want to move through this, or you got to move through a lot of paperwork. This would be a kind of helpful energy for that. Also great for cleaning, but Gemini energy can be scattery. So you might get through your closet and then everything's on the floor and you're like wearing a bunch of things and you're like, oh, I forgot about this. So Pluto could help you kind of move through that a little bit more because it is intense, right? So it's helping you with some focus at a time that focus might be a little low. All right, Thursday, May 23rd, we have a full moon in Sagittarius. So full moons are an illumination, a culmination. And the last new moon we had in Sagittarius was on December 12th, 2023. So look back on the last new moon in December 2023, December 12th, 2023. What was coming up for you? What were you thinking about? What were you dreaming about? Because manifestation, dreaming, ambition, drive, motivation is very Sagittarian. So this full moon is asking you now, like, what have you learned over this last 6 months, right? Between now and December 12th, that you see things in a different light, that you might feel like your ambitions, your manifestations that you had at the beginning of the year are changing now, right? Or you maybe received part of it and you're like, okay, I've done that, or I don't actually want this thing anymore. So this is about refining what you originally felt and thought about and wanted to bring about, right? And what's kind of interesting at this time, this full moon, the moon is opposite the sun, right? So that is a full moon. And the sun represents our vitality, our divine masculine. It is our identity, how we feel about ourselves. And it's in Gemini, right? The beginning degrees of Gemini, because it just moved in. And the moon is opposite in Sagittarius. So the Gemini Sagittarius axis is about intellect, information, and knowledge. Sagittarius is higher knowledge, philosophy, university, going deeper into one topic. And Gemini is about a lot of different topics, learning about a lot of different things. It's early childhood education, right? So think of elementary school where you learned a lot of different subjects and none of them really some are applied, but how often did you use trigonometry in your life, right? So this full moon in Sagittarius, the sun is sitting with 4 planets. So it's sitting with Venus. It's at the 29 degree of Taurus, right at the end degrees. Also Jupiter at 29 degrees of Taurus. And these 2 planets together, Venus and Jupiter, are making Venus is what we love and value, and Jupiter is of expansion, optimism, good luck. So this is really bringing to light the resources and values that you are using and how are you using them. So if you have taken classes in the past, are you using that information? Or are you just sitting on it? Right? Are you using all of this knowledge, and where you have put your resources and investments, are you getting that investment back? Or are you thinking you don't have enough information yet? right? That could be this full moon might be really illuminating that for you. And then to add a little bit more spice to the mix, Uranus is sitting at 23 degrees of Taurus. So it's not close enough to the sun, but it is close enough to Jupiter and Venus. So we have this 4 planets that are kind of like a chain that are attached together, and they all kind of are connecting to each other. And Uranus is about change, individuality, chaos. Uranus is the big evolutionary maker. It likes to just change everything it touches, right? It is here to break up the old to make way for the new. And it likes rebellion, it likes eccentricity, it likes you to be who you came here to be. So all of this is saying together is, have you been using the information that you have learned, that you have paid people for, that you know that you should be doing something with, or are you just knowing it and not doing anything with it, right? So my beautiful friend Elise always says, to know and not to do is still not to know, right? This is about embodiment. Are you embodying the energy you know? So like me, I know I should be going to the gym and moving my body more, and I'm excited to do that. And they have this sprained ankle is still bothering me. I need to go to physio to really heal it and start to get on that track, because I'm ready. I feel motivated. I'm ready to embody, not just talk about it all the time. Right? So this lunar phase encourages embracing freedom, speaking truth, and broadening your horizons, maybe through travel or higher education. It's a time for embracing spontaneity and embracing life's grand adventure. And this full moon opposite Venus and Taurus is about looking back on about kind of, again, where have you invested? Where do you want to go? Where's your heart and your values? Venus is values. Jupiter is like expansion, rules. Sagittarius, it wants to go and have adventures. And in Taurus at 29 degree can be taking in too much of something. Like it's really it can overdo, the food, the drink, the spending. So being really mindful in how you are. If you're feeling empty or you're feeling like you've fallen short of some of your goals, how are you soothing? And some lower level coping mechanisms are spending money, drinking too much, doing the drugs, eating too much, escapism, right? And can we now really be mindful with how we're using our resources going forward? All right. On Saturday, May 25th, we have one of the big change makers of this year, and it's Jupiter moving from Taurus, which is about resources, the earth, Mother Nature, the banking system, things that we value, long-term goals and long-term investments, and our gifts and talents actually, is moving into Gemini. So that Gemini energy, the sun being in Gemini, this is going to really blow up Gemini energy for all of us. And this Gemini energy, again, is about communication, community, curiosity. Jupiter in Gemini is going to stay here until June 9th, 2025. So Jupiter is about a 12-year that it goes around the entire zodiac. So it's going to take about 1 year in each sign, right? So it's going to be here for a year. And he was in Taurus starting May 16th, 2023. So he's been here for a year. And again, really highlighting to us our resources, the way we're using the Earth's resources. Now Jupiter is going to make us aware of how we are using communication. And are we using it for its best and highest, or are we using it for its worst and most predatory uses? Now, interesting to note that Jupiter is going to be in Gemini for the US elections. So this expansion of media and social media coverage, there's also, with an aspect of some other things going on, the involvement of nefarious parties in the media. So we're noticing it already, where we are getting third-party interference or international countries trying to influence things, right, through the media. So this is about being really discerning, because not everything you're going to see is going to be true, right? And I think what I'm personally predicting over the next year is I think a new social media platform is going to come forward. Jupiter is expansion, right? So there's going to be a new social media platform that's going to come forward that's going to, I feel like, embody the original loves that we wanted in social media. Like it was really about connecting with people, seeing what was happening with the people we care about or people that we follow and wanted to learn from, wanting to see more of what they've got or how we could work with them or learning about their personality and their personal lives, right? So that is kind of like what originally social media, it was to be social. And it's become this like money making juggernaut algorithm that even as a content creator, as I put out content and things that I want to help people with, many people don't see it anymore, right? Unless you're paying for ads or you're paying for verification check marks and things like that. So we're just noticing that these big platforms, they're businesses. That's what they are, right? So their business is communication, but it also is money, right? So it's a business and we can't fault them for it. We are also here running our own businesses and supporting people in our own mission. So where is there a more heart-centered media outlet? What does that look like? Maybe it's TikTok. Maybe TikTok is also kind of in peril right now as well with legislation and fight dance and all that stuff. So we're noticing Jupiter is going to expand our intellectual ideas and need to connect with each other. And we want to have more diversity of thought. I think this is going to really help us as well to bridge the gap between the I'm for this and you're for that, and we can't agree. And can we actually have communication to understand that we're actually very similar? We're more similar than we are different. So this shift is going to encourage learning, communication, embracing new ideas from various perspectives. It's time for intellectual growth, networking, and expanding your mental horizons. And I think the term networking feels really gross to me. I just saw a post of a friend of mine. It's like, networking is ew. And it is ew because it's so masculine that you're doing it for a reason, right? You're networking to expand your network so you will buy something from me, or you'll know someone who will buy something from me. You'll send somebody, like it's for an ending of money, right? And can we just actually say that we're learning and meeting new people because we just love to meet new people, and the ones that resonate will meet us where we're at, right? So if you have a 4 in your human design, if you don't know what your human design is, you can Google human design. You need your exact birth time for that. If you have a 4 in your profile, social community aspects are really, really important for you. And I have a 4 in my profile. That's why I know it, right? So and also I love human design. So having that community aspect, Gemini is going to bring us out of our homes and back into community. Because I think with COVID, what happened is we all isolated and then many of us stayed there. Right? It kind of stayed in this cocoon, and coming out more into social functions and being in community. We need that, right? We need that for our mental wellness. We need that for connection, our bioengineering, our biology, and it requires us to come into connection with others. It's a need for us, right? And so if you're an introvert or you have, anxious attachment or avoided attachment, then coming into connection with others can feel kind of hard or yicky, but you still want it, right? On some level, you still want it. So healing that is going to be really helpful. And Saturn is still going through Pisces, so that's going to help us with healing attachment issues and anything behind the scenes that's happening there. But this Jupiter in Gemini is going to bring us out into more community. I'm excited for this. And it's going to bring about more communication and connections. And it's going to make it easier for us to consume things. But I mean, we're already so consuming. Like, we're such a consumption-based society that discernment is going to be needed, right? So just remember that for yourself. And then the last aspect for this week is also on Saturday, May 25th, and it is Venus trine to Pluto. So Venus is what we love and value, beauty, aesthetics, and money. And trine to Pluto, trine is a harmonious 120-degree aspect, and Pluto is about death, rebirth, and transformation. And he's moving through retrograde in Aquarius right now. So this is about, like, how much do you actually need? right? How much do you actually need to survive that you need in your life? How many pantsuits, how many bedding sheet changes do you need? How many pillows do you need? Like, how much do you actually need? This is about cutting out waste and being more mindful with your resources. And then, are you spending in alignment with your values, right? This can foster deep communication, deep emotional connections as well, because Venus is relationships and Pluto is about transformation and depth of relationship. So emotional connections, intimacy, and transformation in relationships is possible now. And this alignment encourages vulnerability, authenticity, mutual empowerment in partnerships. It's time for delving into the depths of heart and embracing profound emotional healing. So there's a really wonderful opportunity here to cultivate strong relationships, to cut away any that aren't actually working anymore, noticing power struggles and dynamics in relationships, and where does that actually serve you or not serve you, right? And getting rid of those. So anything that's kind of wasteful, that is not really serving your values and your goals, you're going to just notice it's going to come up for you to notice, to do something about, to not just be a witness anymore, but to maybe make a mindful choice that I want to put this here instead, right? Even if you think about, you have so much attention span, so much energy. If you're doom scrolling, then you're spending that time on doom scrolling versus sleeping, versus reading a book, versus meditating. And sometimes those require more effort than doom scrolling does. So if you're doing the doom scrolling, just do it with intention. Set an alarm for yourself that you're just doing it for 5 minutes, or do what I do. And the pattern interrupt is anytime I see an ad that like feels weird to me, that's my cue to shut it down and be done with it. And it's quite interesting how I become quite, the word is disappointed. I'm very disappointed if I see an ad right away, because I was like, oh, okay, fine, I get to shut this down now. It's my goal, because I know it's not in alignment for me anymore. It's kind of a wink from the universe that it's time to move to something that feels more in alignment. So, wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And please leave a comment below as to what you took away from this forecast. What is serving you in this forecast, and what part of it feels really good for you? I would love to know that so I can do more of that for you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I will see you next week. Bye.